Peace, family. Yesterday I did a message where I said all white people are racist, and I caught a little bit of backlash from that. Let me explain in detail. Whenever you have something of a certain characteristics that can be labeled good or bad, you would always find the good to do something to distinguish themselves from the bad. When you talk about the good or bad white people, the racist or the non-racist white people, you would think, just like you would select fruit out the grocery store, milk out the refrigerator section, whatever it is that you got some type of identifying marker that displays or distinguishes this from that, the good from the evil. When you talk about racism, there isn't an act of racism ever perpetrated on the face of this planet that didn't require the assistance of someone else. At every opportunity to apply racist tactics or procedures on another race or group that you do not like, there was somebody in the room that helped this person realize this fruition. That was your opportunity to distinguish yourself right there. And when you look at the enslavement of blacks, when you look at the decision making of going across the world to snatch Africans from their indigenous land and drag them back as slaves, that person didn't do this by himself. He needed the help of others. That was your opportunity to distinguish yourself from your evil counterpart. And you don't have no history, no recorded documents whatsoever of a group of whites that stood up against the group of racist whites to stop them from doing whatever it is they were trying to achieve. It doesn't exist. Even when they brought the slaves back, and let's look at it like this. Here you have a slave master, plantation full of slaves, and this man is raking in money hand over fist. Now, of course, his wife is enjoying this, but you would think if there was any goodness in her, she would have said to herself, how is it that you're earning so much money, yet you have so many people out here in the plantation working from sun up in the morning to can't see at night, and you're still able to generate this kind of revenue? How much money are you actually paying your workers? Out of all the plantations that was in this country, do you think one wife questioned her husband on how he was making his money, how he was compensating his help fairly? That was your opportunity to distinguish yourself from your counterpart. So when I say every white person is racist, I mean that. Because whenever there was a time and opportunity for white people to distinguish themselves as the better counterpart of their evil nature, they failed, or they only showed up in areas like you go to a family reunion and you may see a sister, a cousin, or whoever married to a black woman or a white man. You may run across a so-called good white guy in the party store, grocery store, that's willing to loan you a few bucks if you short, or give you directions, or hold the door open for you as you coming in from the cold or the rain. These are the good white people that black people cling to. These are the good white people who never position themselves, or who never find themselves in position of power and authority where they can establish laws and industrialize their good intentions towards blacks. Once these so-called good white people do their good and kind act, they disappear like ghosts, and their impact is gone. It never lingers. There's no trace of it. There's never been a group of good white people that came together and their goodness overshadowed their evil counterparts. Their goodness left a trail of good moral behavior that benefited the vast majority of black people. There's never been a documentation of that. But these racist white people, somehow they always find themselves in a position to continue the system of government, the system of the courts, the economic system, the industrial, to maintain the white dominance in this country. How is that? Is that a more coincidence or intention? Why don't these ever good white people ever show up as president, as a lawmaker, as an enforcer, and something that even if he do pass away, his intentions linger behind? Why don't this ever happen? So when I sit up here and say that all white people are racist, I mean that. Because whenever this system is threatened, or whenever this system needs a racist to continue its evil ways, one just automatically just pops up out the blue. You've had hundreds of years of you had blacks enslaved, children, wives, sons and daughters growing up, and not one of these children ever grew up saying, I'm not going to be a racist like my father. I'm not going to be a slave owner like my father. I'm not going to earn my money this way. I couldn't sleep at night listening. It never happened. You actually had to fight a war to get white people to stop enslaving blacks. And then you took you another 90 years to free them after that. So when I say all white people are racist, don't come at me with your feelings. Come at me with some facts and prove me wrong. Tell me, this is going to be my last point. When was the last time a group of white people sent out a message telling blacks, you know, when you were enslaved, you had your own system of government, you had your own way of your own values, your own customs and beliefs, your language, your history, everything. And that was stripped from you by bad, evil, intended whites. Why don't y'all reestablish your way of life that you had before you encountered whites and live the lives that God intended you to live? Name me a group of white people who has that on their agenda, and then then come and tell me that I'm wrong. But I'm in this message here, and as always, these are my thoughts, my opinions. I invite you to leave yours in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video. Ashe.